Today we're going to talk about permits and why it's so important if you do anything to your house at all that you need to get it permitted.
Permits are important. They're a little more hassle because you do have to have the county inspectors, city inspectors come in and inspect the work, but it's also for your protection and also value for your property. Without a permit, if you do anything in your house, you add a new room, you add a garage, if you finish out an area in the house that was unfinished, if you don't have a permit, we cannot count that as heated square footage. So a permit's important. It's not a hard process. It's also a very good protection for you as an actual owner because they are coming in and making sure the electric's done properly, HVAC systems are sized properly, your insulation factors are there also.
If you don't get a permit and you have a problem, say you didn't get that electric checked out and your house catches on fire, it's likely that the insurance company will not cover that claim.
Because of not having that permit, it looks as if you may have done it yourself, and because of that square footage that you're adding onto the house, they can deny the claim. So be aware of that.
Yeah, it's very important to have a permit.
And the bigger hassles come in when you go to sell the house. We had a house that was listed that we did not count the basement that was supposed to be permitted. We didn't count that because they could not show proof that it was permitted, which worked out well for us because once those buyers purchased that house with that basement knowing that it was unpermitted, they were able to save money on the house, but also they were better well insured because it was being sold as that. So a good example we had was another one of our buyers purchased a house that didn't have a permit, and they had to finish out the basement. They had issues in the basement. They wanted to bring it up to code. So when the city came in to inspect it, they were able to bring it up to code, but the only way they could bring it up to code was they had to tear out all the walls back down to the bare studs. And then once they tore out all the walls to the bare studs, they found out that the original owner who did the basement work had used regular 2x4s, regular studs instead of treated lumber. And in a basement, if it's on an outside bearing wall, you have to have treated lumber. So little things like that came back to cost them, they were prepared for it, but it cost them a lot more money than they anticipated up front.
How much does it cost to get a permit?
I think it's less than probably $100, $200, depending on what you're permitting. Electrical is going to be cheaper than the HVAC system, but typically, $200 to $200 basically.
What happens if it's kind of finished but not really finished, and you want to get electrical done? Do they have to tear a wall out to see the electrical?
If it's already done, the sheetrock is up and everything, yes. A lot of times they will make you tear out the walls to expose where the wiring is, because remember, none of us can see through walls, and neither can the inspector. And he's putting his name off on there, their sign off on that permit. They have to see that every wire was connected properly, that someone didn't actually splice wires together. So they have to tear out your walls to verify where that electric went to and where it's terminating at, those kind of things. So.
Yeah, we do need to stress though that if it's not permitted, if you finish a room off or a bonus room off and you don't get it permitted, when we try to sell your house, we're not allowed to count that as heated square footage unless it's permitted. And that's very important because that's a lot of value taken away.
So it's
worth a couple $100.
Yes,
right?
Buyers, homeowners will always try to eliminate that little cost that's going to cost them a lot more value down the line. Permits they're good for anything you do, from the HVAC. I would always recommend having if you're getting a new HVAC system, get a permit on it. It's just better for you because codes change every 6 years. So if you have a 12-year-old system that you're having replaced, the codes probably change. It's going to make that unit more effective for you and your house safer for you. So get the permit pulled. Maybe a couple extra $100 to improve your HVAC system, to have it installed, but it's well worth the money for yourself,
Yeah.
safety for your family.
If your contractor doesn't want to have the, go and get the permit done, usually the contractor will go and go submit for the permit. If he didn't want to do that, then I would think there'd be something wrong.
Yeah, I will go do it myself, go get the permitted pool. And if
Make
the
sure
and
the
if
work
it-
was done correctly.
Yes, the work was done correctly. And if your contractor doesn't want you to pull a permit, then you may want to think about getting another contractor, because there's reasons they do that. Your typical permits will require anytime you're doing anything with electrical, anytime you're doing anything with plumbing, hot water heater, HVAC system, even a roof. I would have that checked also. Again, codes change all the time, whether it's inside that you're doing upgrades in your house, or if you're adding a building, it's important.
We would recommend it.
Yeah. Also, permits will require you to do certain things about surveys. If you're going to add a garage to your property, they will make sure you have a survey done to make sure your setbacks are proper. All these fall in line. We just had a house that we sold this past year that the folks that actually put a detached garage on and a screen porch on, and we went down and did the research. It took some time to dig it all out, but we did find where they had permitted certain things, and it fell into the grandfather area of setbacks at the time. Important, do permits.
Yes.